Greetings, fellow SUNY Ulster students and families. My name is S.J.Kelley. I am a communications degree major, hopefully graduating in 3 weeks, and I'm out here reading my book to all the families and children who are home. And as far as that, I'm going to read you my book, Becky the New Fire Engine, which I wrote and my brother illustrated a few years ago. It was a cold night in February. It wasn't unusual to find the firefighters always at the firehouse, but on this special night, they were awaiting a new fire truck. As the firefighters anxiously waited, they heard a roar coming up the road. "It's here," shouted one of the firefighters. As the firefighters opened up the fire station door, the salesman backed up the new fire truck into the open bay. Even though there was salt and some snow on the road, this new fire truck was still shiny and clean. As soon as the garage door closed, all the firefighters started opening the compartments and the doors in this new fire truck. They even climbed up on the roof. Every button on this new truck was pushed. Firefighter Lyle, who had a giant mustache, blew the air horn, and it startled everyone, including a little boy named Aiden. Aiden's father had been a fireman for many years, and Aiden loved everything about the firehouse. When he was old enough, he wanted to become a fireman too. All the firefighters were getting ready to leave the firehouse for the night. Aiden touched the front bumper and said goodnight to the new fire engine. And as he started to walk away and heard "be whoosh," he thought that was odd, but his dad told him that was the truck's air brakes adjusting. Aiden's family only lived a few houses away from the firehouse. Many nights he watched his dad wake up and respond to the firehouse for calls in Aiden's town. And everyone knew when there was a fire call. On top of the firehouse, there was a giant siren. It rang 5 times for emergencies. If it was normal when Aiden's father went to the firehouse for training or after fire calls, that Aiden be right there next to him. Over the next few nights, the firefighters drove the new fire truck all around town to show her off. After a few times, Aiden can recognize the sound of the engine coming up the road. And every day he begged his dad to go to the firehouse so they could see the new truck. When the firefighters returned to the firehouse, they started washing the new fire truck, and Aiden couldn't wait to help them. Aiden started washing the new fire truck in the front and noticed a nameplate that said Beck. Underneath that, in small letters, it said fire apparatus. So Aiden said out loud, "I didn't know fire trucks had a name. Is your name Beck or Becky?" And once again, he heard the big whoosh, and it startled him. He knew that Becky was trying to talk to him. And after Becky was clean and all the firefighters left, Aiden rubbed her bumper and said, "Good night, Becky." "Be whoosh," said Becky. During the next few months, when the fire siren sounded, Aiden ran to his bedroom window and waited for Becky to go by. He knew by the sound of the siren, her air horn, and the roar of the engine that Becky was coming. And sometimes at night, Aiden would have to cover his eyes because the red and white emergency lights were so bright. When Becky traveled through the intersection, a fireman would hit the air horn and all the cars would get out of her way. Every day after school, the school bus would drop off the neighborhood children at the fire station, and Aiden always passed by the window and said hi to Becky. One day, the older children started picking up on Aiden as he walked by the firehouse, and this made Aiden sad, but he still said his daily hi to Becky. And Becky must have seen the other children picking on Aiden. Next thing you know, you hear "honk!" screeched Becky's air horn. It was so loud it scared the bullies away, and Aiden just kept walking and smiled. He smiled because he had a friend who looked after him, Becky, the fire truck. Aiden's town got many snowstorms. One day in late March, the area was due for a great storm. The storm was so big that all the schools were closed before it started snowing. As the firefighters at the station prepared for this big snowstorm, Aiden thought of the great sleigh ride he'd having the next day. He was going to enjoy his next day off. As night approached, the snow started falling. It was so heavy that Aiden couldn't see his porch steps anymore. And all of a sudden, the fire siren went off. Aiden could hear his dad telling the others that there was a house fire and his dad leaving for the station to go get Becky. Aiden rushed to his bedroom window to watch the fire trucks go by. He heard the old engine leaving and then the ladder truck. As soon as the trucks got in front of Aiden's house, they got stuck. The snow was so deep, the trucks could not move anymore. Aiden heard the last truck coming out of the fire station. It was Becky. Aiden knew that nothing could stop her. Becky started down the road with a siren on the air horn going, "honk!" The snow was flying by as if she had a snowplow on her front bumper. As she passed the other fire trucks with the siren blasting, there was no stopping her. She was able to get to the snow and help the firefighters put the house fire out. Later that night, the firefighters and the fire trucks made it back to the fire station. The firefighters praised the new fire engine, Becky. If it wasn't for her, she wouldn't have made it to the fire. We should celebrate, said Firefighter Livel. Why not have a party and invite the other fire stations, said Aiden, and all the firemen agreed. Becky did too, by the sound of the bee whoosh from her air brakes adjusting. When spring finally came, the firefighters had a great celebration. Becky was clean, polished, and no axe for the occasion. Other fire departments came with their fire trucks and their families. Inside the fire station on the table was a giant cake with Becky's picture on it. As the fire chief started making his speech about how useful this new fire engine was and special, Aiden sat on Becky's bumper and said, "You're not only my hero, but you're my best friend." And be whoosh, said Becky. The end. What do you think, boys and girls? Think it's a true story? Guess you'll have to find out. So as far as we know right now is my brother and I are actually doing the second book, Becky the Heroic Fire Engine. So keep your eye on that in the next couple months. Thank you and stay safe.